the wisdom of surrender. Okay, I chose to use the word wisdom because it is a wisdom. Only wise people can surrender. Because normally to some people, surrender has a very negative connotation, implying defeat, giving up, failing to rise to the challenges of life, becoming lethargic also. They think if we surrender, we'll become lethargic. Or passively put up with whatever situation is. But surrender is a simple, profound wisdom. Surrender is an inner phenomena. So it doesn't mean that in the outer field, you don't take action or change the situation. So in other words, resignation is not surrender. And you don't even have to accept undesirable, unpleasant life situations. Nor you have to deceive yourself in believing that there's nothing wrong with it. Surrender is perfectly compatible with taking action, creating change, and achieving goals. So first I'm telling you what surrender is not. Then I'll tell you what surrender is. And then after that, I'll tell you what are the obstacles on the path of surrender. Then I'll tell you at the end, how do you really know whether you have surrendered or not? Okay, so that's why I said it's a pretty deep topic. Last night I was thinking about it. I said, in half an hour, it's hard to finish. So I want you to just take it piece by piece. When you surrender, or in a state of surrender, there is a different quality of energy is working and flowing through you. Surrender really reconnects you to the source energy of being. And that's why when you're doing something and connected with being, it becomes joyful. Being is what? The Atma, that is a being. We are human beings. It will definitely take you deeply into the now. See, when we say live in the now, surrender will take you. External events don't control you when you are in a surrendered state of mind. And you are no longer coming from the reaction and resistance. Because we always say that don't react. Life becomes helpful, cooperative. If the fear, inertia, doubt prevented you from taking actions, they will dissolve in that surrendered state of mind. And another thing I want you to remember, do not confuse surrender with the attitude of I can't be bothered anymore, or I just don't care anymore. That's not surrender. What are the Sanskrit names for surrender? In Yoga Sutras, Rishi Patanjali calls it Ishwar Pranidhan. That's a surrender. We are studying Yoga Darshan. In the next retreat, we will visit this verse number 23 in chapter number 1. The translation of this Ishwar Pranidhanat means success in meditation and conquest of the mind will come by surrendering to God. That's how important this surrender is. There's another term used by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Sharnam Gach or Sharnagati. or prapadyante. Those are all Sanskrit names for surrender. So surrender is a very broad term which encompasses many aspects. Okay, there's another way scriptures talk about surrender. Anya ashray nam tyagaha. Anya ashray nam. That means you are not dependent upon anybody else or anything else but God. Okay. In Tulsidas ji, beautifully he wrote in this couplet. I'm sure some of you are familiar with. He said, "Ek bharoso, ek bal vishwas, ek Ram ghan shyam hit chatak Tulsidas." He said, "I'm like a chatak bird. Chatak bird keeps on waiting, looking up towards the sky. When the raindrops come in my mouth, only then I will drink water." There is a beautiful story in the scriptures where Chatak is sitting like this. A hunter shoots at him. Chatak falls into the Ganges. Still, he does not put the beak down. He dies keeping the beak up because he has a vishwas, surrender on the rainwater only. So that's why Tulsidas ji said, have one object of faith, which is God. Have one source of strength, which is God. Have one object of hope, which is God. And just as a chatak bird desires only the rain of the Swati jal. So that kind of a surrender, that kind of a faith we are talking about over here. Let me take you to Bhagavad Gita, few verses over there. Because I told you it's a wisdom, it's not a weakness. And Lord Krishna is telling us again and again, it is the surrender only which is going to take you or bring you to me. He says in verse number 4, chapter number 4, verse number 11, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tan tatheva bhajamyam. He says, in whatever way people surrender unto me, I reciprocate them accordingly. So surrender. If we love God, He loves us back. We have to love God in that kind of a state. Then again, I mean, throughout Bhagavad Gita, you will see that surrender. But over there in that verse, he said, Prapadante. Then in chapter 7, verse number 14, because what is really, we are in the clutches of Maya. So he says, with your own effort, you are not going to get out of the clutches of Maya. Again and again he says it. So in this verse he says, my divine energy Maya, consisting of the three modes of nature. Three modes of nature is what? Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Is very difficult to overcome. He uses the word duratya, extremely difficult. But those who surrender unto me cross over it easily. So see that? Devi hi eshaha gunmei mamaya duratyaha mamev ye prapadyante maya metam taranti te. So again he uses the word prapadyante. That's why I said this is a Sanskrit word for surrender. And it's not only in Bhagavad Gita. In the Upanishads also we see the same thing. So Upanishad, in the Sanskrit they are written long before Bhagavad Gita was written. They talk about surrender too. There was a Upanishad which we did a few years ago, Shvetashvar Upanishad, in chapter 4, verse number 10. That Rishi says, Mayam tu prakritim vidyanamayanam tu maheshwaram. So this is the Maya, the energy of Prakriti. Only God can save us. He is the savior. Again in Ramayana, Tulsidas ji say, So dasi Raghuvir ki samujhai mithya sobi. Okay, so he says, this Maya, this belongs to God. No matter how strong this Maya is, it belongs to Him. You become one with God. You can conquer this Maya. So to Arjuna also, Lord Krishna says, if you surrender to me, then by my grace, I will take you across the ocean of material existence. This Prakriti is also called material existence. I will indicate to Maya, he says, that the soul has become mine. Please leave him. I often give you the example that if you go to your friend's house, friend is inside, outside in the yard, there is a dog, big dog. He looks at you and he barks. He doesn't let you come in. You try to go from the back. Dog just goes towards the back also, will not let you come in. But then you call your friend. Your friend will say, hush dog, and dog will hush. And you can go in. This Maya is just like that. Because it's a God's Maya. He is the owner of it. So when we get connected and surrender to God, this Maya doesn't have any power over us. By our own efforts, we cannot overcome it. The way to go across it, to surrender to God. This is the message again and again we get. Now let's look at what is this Maya? Because we know that by surrender, we're going to get out of it. So this is a material energy that is a God's Maya. That's why it's so powerful. Without God's grace, we learn from Bhagavad Gita that we cannot cross this Maya. Surrender means many things. Highest intellect is a surrender to God. That means understanding this whole play. We got to raise our intellect, buddhi, to accept that you are a tiny part of God. You are the energy of God, and you are to serve Him. Another way we understand Maya is that my aim is to give Him happiness. Whatever I do with my body, with my words, with my thoughts, they should be to make Him happy. That's a surrender. So that means when the goal becomes to serve God, then independent desire we give up. My preference, my desires is just like a servant. Servant does not have any preferences. There is a real story. Abraham was a king before he became a prophet. He had a slave. That slave was brought to Abraham, and Abraham asked him, "What is your name?" Slave said, "Whatever you want to call me." "What do you want to eat?" "Whatever you will give me." "What will you wear?" "Whatever you want me to wear." "What is your desire?" "Whatever is your desire." Abraham asked him, Don't you have any of your own desires? He said, I am your servant. My aim is to please and serve you. I don't have independent desires. Hazrat Abraham looked at him from top to bottom and told him, you have taught me how to surrender to Allah. Go and you are free. That's what surrender means. Just like a leaf surrenders to the wind. Wind carries it everywhere. Leaf has full trust and does not complain. Surrender means having full trust in God. That kind of a trust and surrender will help us cross over Maya. In the scriptures, there is a beautiful couplet. It's not a couplet, it's 3 lines. So triplet, which defines surrender for us. According to this verse, there are 6 aspects of surrender. Let me read this to you in Sanskrit and then I'll try to explain it to you. Anukulasya sankalpaha pratikulasya varjanam rakshishyati vishwasoho gop triptave varnam tatha atam nikshep karpanye shat vidha sharnagita. See, I told you Sharnagat is another Sanskrit term for surrender. Sharnagat. So, Shat Vida Sharnagata. That's why I said these are the 6 aspects of surrender. Let's look at first one. Anukulasya sankalpaha. Desire in accordance with the desire of God. So that means devotee is not desireless, but has a very strong desire, whatever God wants. Desire in accordance with the desire of God. So in conformance with the desire of God. So that is anukulasya sankalpaha. So by nature, we are his servants. And the duty of a servant is to fulfill the desire of the master. So as surrendered devotees of God, we must make our will conform to the will of divine. It's very important. Only then we have surrendered. If we just keep on asking, keep on insisting that God, this is how it should be done, we have not surrendered. Then second part of this verse is pratikulasya varjanam. Not to desire against the desire of God. In general, we make intellectual guesses and we think that why did I get this? Often when the things don't go our way, we say, why did this happen? God made a mistake. So over here, pratikulasya varjanam. Because God is the one who dispenses the results, we must learn to serenely accept him. So that really means do not complain about whatever fruits you get. Don't blame God. Or another way you can look at it, reject what is not in your favor. So just accept it. There is a story about it, which often the learned people talk about to understand this particular aspect of it, that some people, they were traveling in the boat in a river. The boatman said, there's a big whirlpool heading towards us and we cannot escape it. Everybody must chant the name of God. There were a lot of people in that boat. Some people started chanting Ram Nam. Some people said Jai Hanuman. Some Krishna, Shiva, whatever their Isht Devta was. But there was a sadhu in that boat. He took his lota. Lota is that bowl the sadhus always carry. He took his lota and started to put river water into the boat. One lota at a time. And then he just kept saying Jai Siya Ram also, as he just takes the water and pours it in there. People said, have you gone crazy? What are you doing? But he just kept doing it. After a while, boatman said, there's no danger now. Whirlpool has moved away from us and we are safe. What did Sadhu do? He started pouring that water from the boat to outside. People asked him now, why are you doing all this now? He said, first I thought God had decided to end us, so I was helping him. And now I'm helping him again. He has decided to save us. So this is not to desire against the will of God. Then the third one, rakshishiyate vishwaso. That means a full faith that God will surely protect me. God is protecting us, but our material mind thinks that no, we are not protected. We are looking for some other kind of a protection. So just having a full faith that God is protecting me. God is our eternal Father, eternal Mother. We sing it all the time. To me mata cha pita to me. But to have firm faith in His protection is the third aspect of surrender. And the fourth one, gop triptehe varnam. That means feel gratitude for everything we have. It's a sentiment of gratitude. That's very healing and very powerful. So maintain an attitude of gratitude towards God. The earth we walk upon belongs to whom? The air we breathe, the sunlight with which we see, the water that we drink. All of this has been given to us by Him. We are not paying any tax on this. All the essential things we don't pay any tax. We must at least feel deeply indebted for all that He has given to us. This is the sentiment of gratitude. And the fifth one, he says, Atam Nikshep Karpanya. To see everything we possess as belonging to Him. Everything belongs to God. We came empty-handed and will leave empty-handed. In Ashtavakra Gita, two words, if you can remember from that scripture, Mam iti, na mam iti. Mam iti is the cause of bondage. Na mam iti is the cause of liberation. Mam iti cha bhavet mrityu na mam iti brahmashastram. Dve akshram tu bhavet mrityu tre akshram brahmashashvatam. Whole world belongs to God. Feel it, not just say it. Keep what you need to sustain this body. I think most of you have that little booklet written by Guruji. How can we meditate? The question was asked by a disciple. How can I meditate? Guruji said, reduce First, let go of the luxuries, then even reduce the necessities. So those are like a simple words spoken by a great guru. And in the Sanskrit, in the scriptures, it says, Yavat bhavet jatram tavat swatvam dehinam adhikam yo abhimanye sustenoho dandam rati. That means keep what you need to sustain the body. Rest, use it for God. It's not that we have to throw it away. According to the prarabdha, if you have gotten it, a good health, wealth, intellect, use it to serve Him. We don't have to denounce it, but keep for yourself the basic minimum to sustain the body. Then it will be surrender. Otherwise, it will be opposite of surrender. And the last aspect of this verse is Sharnagita, Shatvidha Sharnagita. So, Atam Nirpeksh Karpanye. That means to give up the pride of having surrendered to God. Okay.
Hershey, I have a question.
Sure.
ये आपने fifth बोला था आत्म निक्षेप कर्मण्य.
Yeah, actually Atam Nikshep Karpanye. See, Karpanya word is having giving up the pride. Okay.
Okay. And what is fifth then?
The fifth is Atam Nikshep. See, it's like a together, it's given in there. Okay. See, some of these, it's not really broken down word by word over here. It's just like the whole meaning is like these are the 6 aspects of surrender.
Harshji, can you repeat the first one, very first one?
Anukulasya sankalpaha.
Meaning?
Okay.
Desire in accordance with the desire of God.
Hershey,
Next one
Where
was,
are these from? Where are these from?
these are from Hari Bhakti Vilas, written by Goswami. Okay. So these are like on a bhakti, these great saints, they have written these. So they are not from the primary scripture, they are from the secondary scriptures. Okay. Bhakti scripture, Bhakti Vilas. So desire only in accordance with the desire of God, not to desire against the desire of God, to have firm faith that God is protecting us. You remember, you have often heard from me that during Mahabharata also, when there was a war between Arjuna and Bhisham Pitama, and Duryodhan just taunted Bhisham Pitama, you're fighting on my side, but you're protecting them. You're not fighting the way you're supposed to fight. So then Bhisham Pitama said, okay, tomorrow will be the end of this. So now when he made that announcement, so everybody on the Pandava side also, they said, my God, what will happen now tomorrow? It could be the end of the war. Arjun will be dead. At night, in their tents, Lord Krishna thought that Arjun could be up and worried and he may not be resting enough, sleeping enough. He said, let me just go talk to him at least and put some ease in his mind. So when he goes there, he sees that Arjun is snoring, deeply asleep. He woke him up. He said, Arjun, you are sleeping here. Didn't you hear what Pitamaha said today? Arjun told Lord Krishna, if you are worried about me and you are with me, what is there to worry for me? That is this, to have firm faith that God is protecting us. Firm faith. And fourth one is to maintain an attitude of gratitude toward God. Go tritve varnam tata. And then to see everything we possess as belonging to God. And to give up the pride of having surrendered. This is the last one. So if we become proud of the good deeds that we have done, the pride dirties our heart and undoes the good we have done. It's almost like if you have done something good for somebody and then later on you tell them that, oh, I did that for you. Your goodness is gone. Or if somebody has done it to you and then they keep on telling you that, see how much I did for you. The effect of that is gone from your heart. So that is why it is important to keep an attitude of humbleness. Always remember, if you are able to do something nice, it is because God is inspiring you. God has given you that kind of an intellect which can move towards the right direction. Because if everything is left to us, we would never be able to do good things. So if we can perfect these 6 points of surrender in ourselves, we will fulfill God's condition and he will bestow his grace upon us. So remember these 6 aspects of surrender.
Firstly,
Ji,
Atam, Nikshep and
six-
Karpanya are separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haji, can you please tell me the Sanskrit name?
Sure.
of-
What I'll do is I'll
Okay.
give it to Jyoti and
Sure.
she will post it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Before we know, you all gonna become Sanskrit scholars, right? In Ramayana, again, I would like to bring your attention to this surrender. This is again from Tulsidas Ji Ramayana. Sanmukh hoi jeev mohi jab hi janam koti ag nashahi tab hi. The moment the soul surrenders to God, its account of sinful deeds, all those sanchit karam, are from the endless pastimes are destroyed by his grace. That is the power of surrender. If we think that we are going to extinguish all our karmas by ourselves, we are asking for a defeat before even start. Surrender. That's how important surrender is. There are many, many stories in the scriptures. Bhagavad Puran we study Monday. You will see that pretty soon we'll read a story about Gajendra. Gajraj, he gets caught in the river with a big crocodile. He tries to get out of the crutches of that crocodile. Could not. Tried very hard. For several days, he could not. Finally, when he remembered God, even as an elephant, remembered God, Lord Vishnu came to save him. That's a surrender. And we are all familiar with the Draupadi's story. It's a very important, very famous incident in Mahabharata. Draupadi's surrender. When she was disrobed in the assembly of the Kauravas, first she counted upon the protection of her husbands. She had 5 great husbands. They could not protect him. They remained silent. She relied upon the pious elders. They were all present in the assembly. Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Bhishma Pitamaha, Vidur. She looked at them. She pleaded so that they can help her. They also failed. They did not take any step towards her at all. Then she clenched her own sari in her own teeth. Shri Krishna did not come. Finally, when Dushashan pulled her sari with a jerk, it slipped from her grasp. Then she surrendered herself to Lord Krishna totally. That's a surrender, totally. Because she did not have any faith in anybody else. She couldn't even have faith in her own self either. Immediately, what happened? Lord Krishna came. Not only came, offered complete protection, and she was saved. So these are all stories to just give us the importance of surrender. We got to dissolve our ego. That's why one of the Sanskrit term I told you about surrender was Anya Ashraya Nam Tyaga. Because what is ego? Ego is identification with our body, with our wealth, with our family, with our
Excuse
position.
me, Hershji, I have one question about the incident.
Can we talk about that a little later?
Okay, sure.
Okay, just remember that. Let me just finish this because I want to just make sure that I there are a couple of more points I want to make. Then sure, you can talk about that incident alone also. So the development of faith that God alone is our shelter. Sure, it's okay to have a body, okay to have a wealth, okay to have a family, okay to have status, but ultimately it's God who's protecting us. We got to remember that. What steps we can take to complete our surrender? Because little bit surrender we all have, but what steps we can take? Because surrender is not just a one-time procedure. It's not that we surrender once and we are done with it forever. Sometimes actually we go backward also. We have surrendered and then we can have more arrogance also. Then we slip back. So we have to keep surrendering at every moment. And there are many obstacles on this. The very first obstacle is our own mind. Mind, which is made up of Maya, naturally it runs towards the Maya, towards the world. We need to beat this Maya, mind of ours, which is made up of Maya, with the higher intellect. Intellect is higher. Intellect is subtler than mind. So we have to beat that mind. Mind should listen to the intellect, not the other way around. Because all these aspects, all this knowledge is going into the intellect. So with the help of this knowledge, mind should listen. And another obstacle is that we have sanskars from past lifetimes. That must be countered. Then we have ignorance, agyan within us. That is the real source of the problems. So that's why this intelligence or going to a guru is extremely important. But at the same time, we got to remember that innumerable souls have overcome these obstacles. So have faith that we can overcome also. We will be successful. What do we need to do? First, we must illumine our intellect with the spiritual knowledge, which is given to us by a guru. Then with this purified mind and purified intellect, we must work on our mind. So in other words, use this knowledge to help your mind. The mind which just constantly goes towards the world, detach it from the world and attach it to God. And along with our sincere efforts, we must pray to God for help. The prayers help. and having a strong belief that only God and Guru's grace can make us perfect our surrender. And to speed up the process, I mean, if we want to surrender more in this lifetime, we don't want to wait anymore. We should strengthen the sentiment that God and Guru alone are mine. Because this is true. Rest of the relationships, they are with us for a reason. But in essence, in truth, only God and Guru are ours. Rest are temporary relationships. And then what happens with this kind of attitude, our love for God and Guru, surrender becomes natural and automatic. And when we reach the state of complete surrender, the feeling comes, He alone is mine. And that kind of a feeling will remain with us always. All thoughts and actions will be in accordance with this then. So topmost feeling, God is mine. Then everything, whatever I'm doing is, I want to do it to please God. And also keep increasing the desire to serve God. That's very potent tool for progress. That I want to serve God. And what really determines a person's level of surrender? Or is there any way we can know how far we have surrendered? It is definitely not easy to judge ourselves, but only God and Guru can truly know how much we have surrendered. They know. But there is a simple parameter which we can use, which can give us a certain idea that how much our mind has gotten detached from the world. And the extent to which it has gotten attached to God. Any given time, am I thinking about the world? Or am I thinking about God? Because whatever we love, whomever we love, automatically those thoughts come into our mind. If we love God, without love, we cannot surrender. So if we love God, we are thinking about God. If we love the Maya, then we are thinking about Maya. So we can check it, our own mind. So this is a very simple rule of thumb to measure our advancement, but completely only our Guru and God knows. As long as we possess the pride of performing the actions, we are considered the doers. And we have to suffer from the consequences of our actions according to the law of karma. But when we have surrendered, this pride that I am doing it, we become the non-doer. And God becomes the performer of our actions. Because we are doing it for Him, He should know. We are just the instrument. Then the result, whatever the result is, His result. Why should I worry about it? So that's what in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse number 10, Lord Krishna says, actually, this is the promise He's making to a devotee of this caliber. He says, Tesham satat yukta nam bachtam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yen mam upayanti the. He says that Supreme Lord takes the responsibility for the welfare and the liberation of surrendered souls. So if we do work for him, he takes care of us. It's just like the difference between the baby kitten and the baby monkey. Okay. The mother is the one. When we attach to the mother, then you are responsible for your attachment. When you surrender, mother will carry you in the mouth. Complete surrender. So by giving up the pride of doing, we are liberated from this bondage. And we are rewarded with the divine bliss. And surrender, initially it seems like it's a lot of work. Actually, it's no work at all. It's effortless. This is the easiest thing to do once you raise your intellect to this level with the help of those 6 aspects. That's why at the end of Bhagavad Gita, what did Lord Krishna say? He said, Sarvadharman paritajye mamekam sharanam vrajya. Sharanam, surrender. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha. So if you can surrender to this level, no matter what kind of actions we have done, he even mentioned sarva papebhyo. Maybe they were all sinful actions. He said, they'll be washed away. But we have to do the first part though. Mam ekam sharanam vraj. Ekam, only. Okay, you got to abandon everything else mentally, not physically he's talking about. So he says abandoning all concerns of actions. Simply surrender to me. Then I, who dispenses justice to all, will cease to be a mere judge. And I will bestow my grace to you. I will pardon all the sins of you from the innumerable past and grant you liberation. This is the immense grace of God. Immense grace. So, whether we study Upanishads or Ramayana or Bhagavad Gita, this is the message we get. Surrender. Surrender. But remember, that doesn't mean that you don't do anything. You still do it. It's the attitude of the surrender. It's not that he's not telling us to sit down and don't do anything. Otherwise, he wouldn't tell Arjuna to do his duty. Do your duty, but in a surrendered state of mind. Okay. So now I think I'll take the questions. I'm sure you have it. So only 10 minutes left. So, Jyoti.
Raj.
Yes. Let me, I didn't realize my video is off. Namaskar, Hershji.
Namaskar, namaskar.
I have a question about Draupadi incident because we've heard it forever. 2 questions which are, because it's a little bit confusing, because one side we say that we should not question God in the sense that whatever is coming our way, we should accept it, good or bad, in Savikar Bhav, and just be a non-complainer and keep going and accept it. But then they say, that people question Krishna later, why didn't you go to help Draupadi earlier? And he said, because she didn't call me or she didn't ask. And that means, does anything go against you? You should be calling God, or you should be accepting in Svikar Bhav. Where do you go with it?
No, we should call God.
Mhm.
So it doesn't go against surrender. So so instead of calling everybody else, have
Okay.
faith in God. Okay. So calling God, but not that I want this, I don't want this. but keep a connection with God.
Email.
Connection with God. That is a surrender. We are not saying that God, I am remembering you, give me this. So no desire of yours, but connection should be there, just like with that Baba in the boat. He was remembering God.
Mhm.
Whatever happens, whatever the outcome is, but remembering God. So that's what from Draupadi incidents also. Remembering God. The minute she remembered, he was there. But she did not remember him before. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Jyoti.
Nishta?
Anji, good morning, everyone.
morning.
And I wanted to thank Jyoti for posting these sessions so promptly. I was able to hear the previous ones. Very nice. I wanted to ask you, ye Draupadi ka jo incident hai, many times, you hear about it, कि भाई she needed to call God. I mean, if God is all knowing, does he not know कि भाई she needs help? I mean, that's what I've
He
always
knows, but
wondered.
see, she's not connected. Calling doesn't mean that placing a call. It's connecting. It's connecting with that power. It's like a electricity is there in our house, but we have to turn the switch on.
Okay,
Connection
good.
has to be needed. God knows, but God doesn't interfere.
Good, good. And my
Okay?
other,
God does not interfere. God is everywhere all the time. But instead of connecting with God, we connect with Maya. That is the problem. That's why this term Anya Ashray Nam Tyagaha, we got to develop this attitude. Ashray only on God.
and
Okay?
my other
God knows,
question,
but God does not interfere.
and
Okay?
my other question is, you did clarify in the beginning, it's not inactivity,
Yes.
because it's very easy to get into that mode, Joe, and I think especially South Asians are known for that, jis haal mein Maula rakhe, usi mein rehna hai, that kind of an attitude where you do nothing and just wait for things to happen. How do you sort of cross the line between inactivity and surrender, where you're just not doing anything?
Well, what
And say,
I always keep Bhagavad Gita in my mind.
hmm,
What did Lord Krishna tell Arjuna? Be very active. Do your duties. What you're surrendering is you're surrendering your own desires, the way you should get the fruit. You must do your duties. Stay very active. Yogis always do that. There are definitions of a yogi or a path of yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushlam. That you are supposed to do your duties skillfully. Kushalta se. Okay? So surrender does not mean don't do your duties. Otherwise, Lord Krishna would not have asked Arjun to wage that war. Okay?
very
He
good.
told him, but
Thank you. Very good.
he told him to wage this war while remembering me. Put your mind and intellect into me. Then you have surrendered to me. But wage the war. He even showed him the outcome to encourage him beforehand. Because he was God. He knew what's going to happen. But Arjun was wavering. So the same thing in our life also. We got to do our duties. Do not stay so fixated on the fruits. Do your duty properly. Okay? And surrender to God. Surrendering God means remembering God, connecting with God. Okay?
Very good. Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else?
Rita ji.
Rita, Hershji, Namaste Hershji.
Namaste,
There was
Rita.
actually pretty much the same kind of question. I wanted to know how far do you know your effort is going to work and then you have to leave, you can't do anymore and you surrender to God?
You surrender to God even before you start.
Before you start. Okay.
Yeah. Surrender all the time. It's not that your part is done and then God will start.
Okay.
You just surrender to God and you just do your part.
Okay. So how do we know how much effort we need to make and where after that we can't do anything?
Well, whenever you should know what you are doing. It's not a certain level you reach and then you let go. Do the best you can. Okay, put 100% into it. No matter what you are doing. That's what the kushalta is. That is the skillfulness is. And skillfulness we keep on increasing.
Mhm.
Right? Skillfulness, selflessness, and love. Only then we are karma yogis. Otherwise we are not. Right? But surrender means even the doership has to be that I'm not even doing it. Who is doing it?
God.
No, not God. Prakriti is doing it. Prakriti, which is owned by God. My mouth is speaking, I'm not speaking. So we got to keep this kind of intellect should be part of our whole understanding right now. Okay. So there is no that I'm going to do this much, then God is going to come. No, it's a partnership. God is in the beginning also, God is in the end also. Okay.
Is that what they mean when they say co-create, Ma? Is it what they call co-creating when you know
Yeah,
that
it's like
right?
yeah.
Okay.
You are together. He's our partner.
Thank you.
He is the senior partner. We are just junior servants. Okay. Yes, sure.
Prem, unmute.
Namaskar ji.
Namaskar, Prem.
You know, it may be beating the dead horse about Draupadi's incident, but given the fact that everything happens in Prakriti, so why was this happening to Draupadi when when she was being disrobed? Was she being punished for her what she said about Andhe ka beta andha?
Of course, there's a cause and effect. Keep on going as long as we think we are the doers. Cause and effect go away only we let go of the doership.
But is it proportionate to Andhe ka beta andha and then to have to suffer the way she had to? It doesn't seem
There were a lot of
proportionate.
other. See, we know only part of the story. If
Yeah,
you read Mahabharata, you will have other details also.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but it's all cause and effect. Cause and effect keep on working with us as long as we consider ourselves doers.
So then people like the grandfather, Bhisham Pitama, him sitting quiet and all those yogis sitting quiet. What good is being so spiritual and yogi and all this having?
You are calling them yogi, they were not yogis.
So they were selfish, like they were protecting themselves.
Every person, even these days, we see combination of good and bad both. Okay,
so bad was operating at that
warriors, they were good people, but they did not discriminate properly in that incident. That's why they suffered at the end also. Whose side they took?
Yeah.
Dharam's side.
Yeah.
Okay, so you cannot call them yogis.
Okay.
Yogi is a, see, these days we just use this word yogi too loosely. Anybody who can just do a Sarvangasana or a Shirshasana is a yogi. No. Yogi is a person who is connected with God. And connection completely happens when we let go of our own identity.
So they have such a big name in history.
Yes, it's okay. Big name doesn't matter. There are a lot of other big names too. Hitler has a big name too.
But they are not there. These people are not known for their bad deeds, though. Hitler is.
No, but this also, this is bad enough.
This is very bad. But this is the only bad thing that we know about that they did.
Yeah, no, there were others also. You see, some of the part of the stories have been brought out openly more, but there are a lot of other side stories also. If you read the whole Mahabharata, you'll have more clarity.
Okay.
Okay. So, but good people end up making the wrong thing, decisions.
That does happen.
Yeah, that happens because our personality is a combination of all three gunas, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. And a yogi is the one who has risen above the sattvika also, who can clearly see it.
Okay. So
Okay.
I can see why they are not yogis then.
Yeah, they are not called yogis. They are acharya, like a kripacharya, dronacharya, bhisham pitama. Okay, those are the titles given to them, not yogis.
Not yogis.
Yogi is Lord Krishna. Not only yogi, yogeshwar, Lord of the yogis.
Absolutely.
And how do you see him when he's going into that big battle also? Don't you see the calmness on his face?
Oh my God. I mean, he's
So he's a yogeshwar,
a personified God. So,
yes, so he is the example for us. Okay. So a yogi, the cause and effect, the law of karma falls short for a yogi. He has risen above it. Okay. Yes, Jyoti.
Manju, last question, Manju Malhotra. And then Rita won't be able to sing today.
Oh, Rita won't be able to sing today? Okay. All right.
Namaste, Hershey.
Namaste.
So I was just wondering, listening at the whole lecture, basically it is like Gita from the beginning to end.
Yes.
So when we say what is our responsibility, it's really like has to start as a karma yogi, then go to Gyan Karma Sannyas, basically. Then only we think we have done our part.
Yes.
And leaving it like, the freedom of action is always with us, because that's the freedom God gave us as a blessing and a boon.
Yeah.
Don't blame me. You had 100% freedom in every action.
Yes, we always have the freedom.
Yeah.
And a surrendered person's mind is always, I am happy in your happiness. Make that as a motto.
Yeah. Right. So it cannot be for this or that.
No.
It just has to be that.
Yes. Yes.
Every action as an offering.
Exactly. So
and
it's
that
not
we
that
know what to
it's
offer
not that we don't act. We do act, but we act in a surrendered way. Okay.
So you can never
it's
hold
not
God
that you become
responsible.
lazy, that you don't want to do the things. You are doing it, but not because of this you are doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just like when we say what to offer to God, you have to offer your very best.
Yeah, you got to give your best
according to your buddhi. What are you going to offer to God?
That's why heightening this intellect is very important.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
because
don't complain.
All the decisions are made with the help of the intellect.
Yeah.
What to do, what not to do.
Right.
How to act, how not to act. Where to go, where not to go.
Yes.
What to eat, what not to eat. All of that is dependent upon the intellect. So that's why Swadhyaya is.
Yeah.
It's like you cannot surrender unless your intellect has risen to a higher level.
The
and
ego is
again,
down.
I'll tell you that it's a process. It's a journey. If you think that you have surrendered right now and you just become little careless, you will slip down also. This Maya is very slippery.
Yeah.
Yes, Jyoti.
One last question again. Kim.
Yes, good morning, Hershey.
Good morning, Kim.
Thank you so much for this class. I was hoping you could discuss your comment. You said cause and effect go away only when we give up doership.
Yes.
Could you please explain that further?
Yeah. See, cause and effect, like I do an action, and there is a reaction to it. So when we surrender completely, then whatever is happening, you are offering it to God. It's given to God.
So
You have kind of your own preferences, your own likes and dislikes, they have been resolved or almost dissolved.
So does that mean that our actions do not create more karmic reactions? Is that
They
what
don't.
it means?
They are almost like the way the birds fly in the sky. They don't leave any footprints.
I see.
We
Yes.
do act. We act more vigorously than others, but we are not leaving any footprints of the cause and effect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
Yes, yes.
So,
Thank you.
and then again, this is we got to develop ourselves to that level, right?
Yes.
So before that, selfless actions we got to do,
Right.
right? Selfishness got to go away. Strong likes and dislikes, strong attachments, we got to just let them go. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
That's it, Hershey.
Okay. So anybody else wants to sing? Kamala, do you want to sing then today? Because Rita had to go, looks like.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, thank you, Kamala.
Thank you. कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना तुम राम रूप में आना तुम राम रूप में आना सीता साथ लेके धनुष हाथ लेके चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना तुम श्याम रूप में आना तुम श्याम रूप में आना राधा साथ लेके मुरली हाथ लेके चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना तुम शिव के रूप में आना तुम शिव के रूप में आना गोरी हाथ लेके डमरू साथ लेके चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना तुम विष्णु रूप में आना तुम विष्णु रूप में आना लक्ष्मी साथ लेके चक्र हाथ लेके चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना तुम गणपति रूप में आना तुम गणपति रूप में आना रिद्धि साथ लेके सिद्धि हाथ लेके चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना रिद्धि साथ लेके सिद्धि साथ लेके चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना थैंक यू
Thank you very much,
nice.
Kamla. Beautiful.